What's up, everybody? Welcome to Entertainment 411. I am your host today, Bobby Del Rio. Very exciting. So, if you don't know Entertainment 411, we spotlight the best casting directors, agents, producers, stars, writers, you name it. Anybody in the entertainment industry in Canada who's really making noise. And in this case, he's been making noise for 40 years. My old pal, one of the first casting directors 25 years ago when I started my career, who's always super friendly, and he's still super friendly. It's Brian Levy. He's been in the business for 40 years. You've seen him on the commercials, the TV series, the verticals, and now he's got lots of hair everywhere. Brian Levy.
Thank you, Bobby Del Rio.
And I'll just get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. We're also giving away a one-on-one consultation with Brian. So if you're interested, you go to the eBoss. There's a 10% discount on his upcoming workshop. There's a chance to win a consultation with Brian. You go to the training eBoss site. You will not regret it. And Brian, aren't you doing like 1,000 films right now? Like, you seem to be very, very busy casting films.
You know, I'm a worker bee, baby. We've got one film that's shooting right now, and we've got 2 films on deck. Next one out of the gate is, I have to look, cheapers, that's terrible. The Campfire Cook-Off, a summer rom-com, sure to be fabulous. And then after that, a thriller called The Water Tower.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing this for so long. I mean, you were already an experienced casting actor when I started, and this is 2.5 decades ago. I mean,
is that your way of saying I am so old?
No, I mean,
Bobby, thanks.
Impressive. You know, you've done so much. So the first question we like to ask people is, how did you get started? And I mean, you really are a pioneering casting director here in Toronto. And we're talking, I mean, way before I even started. So how did you get started? Like, how did you fall into or choose to be a casting director? Like, what's the Brian Levy genesis story?
Okay, I'll give you the short, abridged Cole's Note version. I actually started in the industry as an actor. I went to the Vancouver Playhouse Acting School. I'm formally trained. I had a great class that I went through with. Out of the 12 of us, I think, that graduated, I think 9 of us are still in the industry, which says a lot for David Latham and his program there, which unfortunately just doesn't exist. But it was a true classical acting school, theatrical training program. I did not choose to be a casting director. It chose me. But I knew I wanted to be in the industry. And, you know, the irony of it all, Bobby, is as an actor, and I know you're going to find this a bit odd, I hated auditioning.
Oh, I don't find that odd at all. I also hate auditioning.
A lot of actors do, but I really hated it. I knew I could do the role.
Right.
But and you know, my genesis moment as an actor was I realized I didn't know how to do it. I was taught how to break down a script and to fence and to mask and develop character and all of that great stuff, but I did not know how to compete for roles.
Right.
I just knew I could. Anyway, I worked as a professional actor, and then when I wasn't, I worked in the offices at the Playhouse. And then I got offered a job doing something else I was doing PR for a theater company. Then I managed a small theater company, the Mime Company Unlimited, Ron East's company. And what amazing work Ron was doing at that time. I think he was really ahead of his time, but who knew there wasn't any money in Mime?
I mean, that's what I've been focusing on for years.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's asking.
Off yet, though, Brian.
My point to the story is, and that's all part of my journey, I never stopped thinking of myself as an actor. Then I went to work for a commercial production company, Dalton Fenske and Friends, and that was amazing. And I almost became a commercial producer, but I didn't. And it's all because of Michael Franks, who said, you need to help our casting director coordinate on this massive job we were doing. And once I got a taste of that, there was no turning back. I thought, this is what I want to do. This is what I trained for. I got a fairly decent business sense. I really like actors. I love acting. And yet, I don't have to, I get to do the auditioning.
Right.
Wow, a bit of magic. Anyways, that was a long, long time ago. And I have managed to make over the last 40 odd years, make a career. I used to cast a butt ton of commercials, but I was always odd. I was always the odd man out, Bobby, because I did both sides of the track. I cast commercials, and I also did the odd long form project. And these days, I don't do commercials anymore. I just do long form TV movies, TV series, features, short films. Hit me up with your scripts, kids. This is what I do. This is what I love.
Well, look, I will say, someone who has auditioned for you over the years, many, many times, I mean it very sincerely, like, you were one of the friendliest casting directors. Most casting directors are pretty decent. There's a couple who,
I think we both know who we're talking about.
Okay, but every time I saw your name, I would be like, oh, great, because I knew that you were on my side and we were going to have a nice conversation like we're having today. So I always appreciated that about you.
Thank you, Bobby. Those are really kind words. Checks in the mail. No,
they're not bounced this time.
Oh, Bobby, killing me. But good line. One of the important things that I learned very early on as a casting director is that I needed to be in the room always. And that's when we were exclusively just in the room. It takes a lot of time. It limits the number of projects you can do. And I never minded that, because I always felt that I'm a casting director. Let's put the director in the casting part of that. Otherwise, I'd just be an actor wrangler.
Right.
For somebody else to direct. And that's where we find the magic. The magic happens in the room. And these days, the magic happens in your self-tape.
Right. So this is actually a question on the list here, and it's a pretty important question, because I'm theater trained, right? I love going in the room, and now we're in a self-tape culture, and there's a lot of actors trying to figure it out, right? So, like, what advice would you give to actors who are trying to stand out in this new self-tape casting world that we're in?
Well, first of all, it's not so new anymore. The pandemic pushed us into self-taping, and there was a bit of a learning curve. But a lot of actors learned how to really figured it out. And there are still actors who, after 5 years, just have no clue. And they'll come on and they'll do their bit with a puppy or a cat or a baby, or they'll be like my background here, but I'm not auditioning. Lots of clutter, and it doesn't take much. And that's one of the things I teach in my workshops. I teach you guys how to do a great audition and a great self-tape. The great thing about self-taping is you have the luxury of doing as many takes as you want and picking the one. A great self-tape comes with, you don't need to get an expensive camera. You can use your phone. I bought a little camera. The camera that I'm using tonight is a separate camera from my computer. It's got its own little tripod. It's literally this big. Cost me $100 Staples. plugs into my computer. So now I have a camera and a monitor. In my office, I also have an external mic. I would invest in one of those. Invest in a little LED light, not one of those circle lights, because it does really crazy stuff with your eyes. It really isn't that hard to create your own little studio. Go to Amazon, buy yourself a little backdrop and a couple of clips, and create a neutral space for yourself. And boom, you've got your own studio. Get a roll of tape, make your marks on the floor. And here's the real kicker, Bobby. You ready for it? Buckle up.
Give it to me.
Find a reader. Get like a live human being, somebody who can press the button and read the lines with you. And that is the most important piece of advice I can give an actor in self-tape auditions. A lot of actors like to put somebody on their speakerphone,
right,
and it sounds like it. A lot of actors will Zoom somebody in, and then I couldn't find anybody, and I'm just like, sorry, you're not trying hard enough. Dig deeper, call around. I know actors who make deals with other actors. I'll be available for you, you be available for me, and they create little networks. And if you're really serious about it, that's what you're doing.
Right.
The other stuff, we just can't watch that.
Yeah, I'm on an LA actor text thread, and there's maybe 15 of us, and it's like when there's an audition and who's available, like the people who really want it are very organized. But I guess especially being older, right? I've been in business a few decades myself here now, and I guess it's it used to be kind of more I think about the performance, and now a lot of your advice, which I keep hearing from a number of people, it's actually really cool to host this. But you hear that again, it's technical, right? It's like you're talking about lighting and you're talking about.
Look, back in the day, Bobby, when we were doing exclusively in-person casting sessions, and actors would go, I have to drag my ass all the way across town on the 405 street, or the 501 streetcar, sitting beside the crazy smelly guy.
Right.
And now we just did in-person auditions, and I was shocked. I lost nearly half the session. Oh, you can't come, doesn't want to do in-person, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, because in-person's great. You come, you walk into the studio, you hit your mark, the lighting's taken care of, the sound's taken care of, the upload's taken care of. All you have to do is show up and be brilliant. And you know what? We'll even give you a bit of direction.
Right. My
favorite part of self-tape is not having to drive in person only for. That's a good point, Bonnie.
Yeah. That's pros and cons, right? It's just the new way. Everything's new. It's like we were talking about Instagram before, social media. Everything evolves, right?
No, that's cool. Which means that you have to become a master of the art of the self-tape.
Right.
And it really, it's just not that complicated. If an old guy like me can do it and manage to have his setup here, usually for my Zoom meetings with my clients, I have a backdrop, and I rushed in tonight. I thought I'd go casual. But that's the thing. Your self-tape has to be good enough, Bonnie, to get that call back.
Right.
The other thing is, if you use a reader, another actor in person with you, which means you may have to schlep your stuff over to their house, or they have to schlep to you, or wherever. It's another pair of eyes. You get a second opinion. It's like, wow, man, that was really good. Do you ever think about maybe turning into it, or starting here, or and then all of a sudden you go, no, I hadn't thought that's a good idea, or no, I don't want to do it that way. Thanks.
Right. But you get the perspective. So I understand your point, right? It's just the more that you lean into the strengths of the self-tape process, you lean into the tech, that can be an advantage for you, not a disadvantage.
Yeah, and there's lots of good people out there. If you've got a big audition and you're self-taping, get a coach for not a lot of money. You know, there's guys like Darren Baker, who is a master, or Michael Gordon Shore, a bunch of other people. I don't get anything for saying their names, but I can tell when actors use somebody for their a bigger, more important self-tape. If it's 3 or 4 or 5 lines, you know, you should be able to handle that. But if it's a bigger piece that's got some meat, you might want another set of eyes on it. And hey, if you're not willing to invest in your careers and your auditions, we can't help you. It really is an investment in yourself. You still need a good headshot. You still need good presentation. You still have to have a great demo.
Right. And I mean, it's kind of always been that way anyway, right? So this actually leads to my next question. It's interesting because we're talking about how the industry's evolved and self-tapes are part of that. But also, like, let's talk about the role of representation, agents and managers, when it comes to discovering new talent, because, you know, obviously there's always a place for agents and managers, but in a self-tape world, I never used to see that before, but people can submit themselves. So what role do the agents play in all this?
The agents play an even more important role.
Okay.
You know, in the old days, they just shut, now off you go to your audition, have a good one,
Right.
Give them hell.
And they always spoke in a British accent. I don't know.
I know. It's in my mind, that's how all agents sound.
Right.
Seriously though, your agent is a very important part of your team. We all have teams. I have teams. You as an actor have a team. You have your agent. You have other actors that you work with. Part of your audition group, and I hope you're all taking a note on that. I need to form an audition group, or you can feel smug. I have an audition group. But your agent, you send your audition to your agent. They should be taking a peek at it and going, wow, this is really good. Or I think you need to do this again. And often we'll get a self-tape and we're not shy about sending them back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow is right. But we send back with notes. This isn't going to, we know our clients and our directors. And I have sent more than one back, and on several occasions, the actor has booked the job. And they've been great. They've turned it around really quick. But it means if I'm sending it back, I'm interested in you.
Right.
Anybody who's invited to self-tape, we don't invite the whole world to self-tape. You get chosen. We chose you. We think you got what it takes. And then it's so disappointing when we get a terrible self-tape where the sound sucks and the lighting sucks, and or you've got your reader on Zoom and there's a half a second delay, and we can't focus on you.
It's interesting, you talk about make another tape and here's the direction. That used to be a callback, right?
You want to talk actress, sometimes we'll go, yes, that's a callback. And I'm going, well, then you get to make a choice. You can either do it again, because I'm not using that material. But we're not calling it a callback. It's called a do better.
Right.
I don't think actors really caught up with what actors have to do these days. Now, if I ask you to zoom into an audition or come to a studio to see you again, that's a callback, baby.
Right. So it's really interesting how the whole system really changed during the pandemic. That's when you saw everything aggressively pushed to self-tapes, and it really changed all the protocols to that. Essentially, the self-tape system is now the casting system, right?
We're doing predominantly self-tapes. Good news and bad news. Good news is we don't do callbacks. The bad news is we don't do callbacks.
Right.
You know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword there. But if you do have opportunity to go into the room, Bonnie, schlep your ass across town and get in the room. Because, well, actually, ask who's going to be in the room. Is it worth your while to schlep your tuchus all the way across town for a callback? You know, or not? Or could you do another self-tape with notes if nobody of record is going to be in the room? But these days, if we're going to the effort of renting a studio and actually doing the callbacks, our director, our producer, somebody, part of the decision-making team is going to be in the room. And if you have an opportunity to be in the room with a decision maker, that's huge. We may not cast you in it, but we thought enough of you to bring you back and take a second kick. And often, we might not cast you for the role you auditioned for. We might cast you in another role. You know, it happens all the time. Actors audition for roles, and our director goes, you know what, I like somebody better, but you know what, I really like this actor. Can they play this? And then you're in. Or, you know, there's no such thing as a wasted audition, Bobby. I get directors all the time when we start a new show. They go, oh, yeah, I saw this guy. Who was that guy we cast and we saw in the last show? He had a couple of ears and a nose, some hair. And I go, oh, yeah, that guy, sure. It's me being funny. But we're obsessive compulsive. We are completely OCD because we make notes, we keep lists, and my directors do the same. My producers, a lot of them do the same. There's no such thing as a wasted audition.
Let me ask you a question in terms of the casting director perspective. It's interesting as we talk about how the casting system has evolved from the way it used to be, right? There's still elements. In a way, it's the same thing. Like, it's like, I like this person, I'm going to give them the job, and you know, you have to be prepared and everything. But from the casting director perspective, I mean, you've been in this game for decades, right?
Yeah.
The technology, the self-taping system, does that make it easier for you to be a casting director? Because you don't have to, as you say, you don't have to be in the room. You don't have to, like, you can live somewhere else and you can get those tapes anywhere, right?
Bobby, let's do the math. All right. You folks out there in eBoss land, you ready to do the math? Can you handle the math? Because here we go. When we write the breakdown, we put it out. We use Breakdown Express, sometimes the workbook. Primarily Breakdown Express, but that's a whole different story. We then get the submissions back from the agents. Those are the people that your agent reads the breakdown. They go, oh, yeah, okay, and they put people in, and sometimes they check availability, sometimes they don't. But that's just me. It's one of my own little peccadillos. And we go through. There are lots and lots of agents, and so we will have a lot of submissions to go through. And yeah, we look at everybody. Some people we know, some people we don't. If I don't know you and you have a crappy photo where you're standing like way back in a bunch of trees in the dark, wearing a dark coat, and I can just see sort of the whites of your eyes, I'm not looking. That's why a headshot is so important. But I digress. So we look at all these photos and resumes, and we look at, you know, I'm a great resume reader. I call it resume spelunking. I love seeing what classes people are taking, what schools people came out of it, especially when you put your instructors on, who you worked with. Gives me an idea of the kind of, it starts painting a picture of who you are as an actor if I don't know you and I've not seen your work. I like looking at your theatrical credits or your film credits to see who you've played. You know, if I see that you played Hamlet at MTC in Winnipeg, I'm going, oh, okay, well, this person obviously can act. Or if you came out of a school, you know, NTS, U of A, Seneca, George Brown, Humber, UBC, the Freddie Wood program, Studio 58 in Vancouver is amazing. If you came out of any of those, I'm going, okay, well, I'm not worried about acting. All of those paint the picture of who you are as an actor. So moving along, we look at all of these, we construct a short list. Out of that short list, we then create a list of who gets invited to self-tape. I'll use the example of self-tape. We generally invite 32 to 28 to 32 people, and I can hear the actors slapping their foreheads. Oh my God, it's a cattle call. No, it's not a cattle call, because out of that group, I'm going to lose 4 or 5 just for availability. Then I'm going to lose another couple because they're going to pass, or they don't like it, or they think they should be reading for a bigger, whatever reason. Family emergency, can't do it, whatever. Now I'm down to about 22, and that's pretty reasonable. Out of that 22, I will get about 16 to 18 that I will send to the producer. Now think about that. Most of the films, a TV movie will have 12 to 16 roles. So let's multiply that by 16. We all doing the math?
It's a lot.
It's over 200 self-tape auditions that we have to look at and go through. And now here's the big question. Do they watch them? Yes, we watch them. We watch them all. If you go to the time, if I take the time to choose you and invite you to audition, I'm watching the self-tape. Now, I may not watch all of it. I may only watch the first 30 seconds and go, yes, this is great. This is, and yeah, we're moving this one up the ladder. You're going to be in the link that goes to our clients. That's part of our job. That's what we do. That's what we get paid for. Sometimes we'll look at a self-tape and we'll send it back. Do it again. Your actor, we know you're a good actor. Could we see some of that? And a lot of the times we get back from the agent that goes, oh yeah, you know, my guy's really sorry. He was in a real hurry and he just wanted to make the deadline. If you can't make the deadline, ask for an extension. 9.9 times out of 10, we'll give it to you. It's easy peasy. And then when we get it back, we can just add it, and we shoot our team a little note going, if you refresh your link, there's a new guy for the role of cop number 7, right. Who we really like. It is an organic process, and it really does work well. We get great casts. I'm shocked at the caliber of casts, and you guys, for the most part, you work so damn hard. It is hard work, but the payoff is great. You get to be in a movie or a TV show, or you get to work with somebody, you know, some great star, you know, or you're pushing your career forward. Maybe you're doing your first principal role. Maybe you're doing your first speaking role in a film. You've got 2 lines. It's an actor role. I'm there. I remember my first speaking role as an actor. I was so nervous. Oh my God. I thought I was going to have kittens.
Like twin kittens or like 5
like
of them?
Tabbies.
Wow. Okay.
No. So, you know, the process, that's the math. if you're being invited to audition, you've been chosen. And if we're choosing you, we're happy to cast you. So prove us right.
Right.
It's a huge endorsement. And sometimes your agents are supposed to do this, and they call us and they go, hey, what about, I submitted my guy and I'd really like to get him an audition for this. And in my casting director says no a lot. And I love saying yes. And you know what? It's fine. Most of the time we go, yeah, sure. Just we hit a number. Obviously we just don't have time to look at every single one, and that's not what they hire us for. We'd never get anything cast. In person, the odds of getting into the room are higher. Like they're not so. The odds are not in your favor, my friends, because we see less people. When we audition in the room these days, we'll bring in 8, maybe 10 per role.
Okay.
Yeah, but we will also invite another 8 or 10 to submit a self-tape.
It's like a hybrid model in a way.
Bingo.
Right.
And it's a great way of doing it. Studio time is really expensive, and producers just don't want to spend that kind of dough anymore.
So, okay, let me ask you another question. So,
did I answer that question, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, we're just having conversation. Honestly, you're an amazing guest, Brian, because you're very honest, but you're very kind, and it's hard to strike that balance. Because
I can get meaner. I can do mean.
If you could just throw things at me through the screen.
I could do douche like that.
No, I guess my question is, you're talking about because there's hybrid approach, which it just intrigued me. It's like, so sometimes you'll do it in person, sometimes you'll do self-tapes, and so as you said, even then, like you'll have maybe 8 people say in person, and you'll have another 8 self-tapes. What's the rationale behind that? Like, is it that the self-tape people are far away?
No, I just don't have. Self-tapes used to be the audition of last resort when an actor was out of town or shooting, and we couldn't keep them in. And it evolved, as we all know, into something else. I like the hybrid method. We're working with a client right now where we're urging them, let us bring, usually our 1 and 2 are negotiated, and then we're trying to get our producers to agree, let us bring 3, 4, and 5 into the room, because those will be big enough principal roles that we feel could use some work in the studio and some direction, and we'll get better auditions.
Right.
And I would do that hybrid method. I would bring a certain number of people into the room and also have self-tapes in our back pocket to add to the link, just to fluff it up a little bit. And the days of dragging an actor across town, Bonnie, this one's for you, for 3 or 4 lines, are so dead, so gone.
The only thing I want to push back on that a little bit, though, just because I have just been doing this for so long. I remember I was maybe 20 years old and I auditioned for HBO, okay, and I was going in for a gangster or something like that, but I was in a good mood and I was making them laugh and I was breakdancing in the room, and then I did the audition and I was terrible. Like I literally screwed up the lines, and I was supposed to be so intimidating, and I screwed. I was like, So I ended up getting cast, right? It was like one line, starting my career, right, with Jeff Daniels, and I got cast as this lovable stoner, a comedic character, because of the time that I had with them in the room before I ruined my audition, with my mediocre talent, So there is that too, though, right? Getting that time to build a relationship.
I have seen that, and it's those days are gone where you get to come into the room. The late great Kelly Fiddick made a career of being that guy, that affable stoner.
Right.
always sort of looked a little dumbfounded, a little stoned, like he'd just done a blunt before he came in. He was great. Kelly just passed recently, and he'll be missed, but he had that unique gift of making those people on the other side of the table love him.
Right.
And if they didn't, there was something wrong with them, not him. It's all about, coming into the room, into a live room is hard. It's an art unto itself. You learned old school.
Well, so did you, right? I mean, we're theater trained.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
And some actors, when we were doing exclusively in the room, I had no problem stopping an actor in the middle of their audition, going, "Can we just cut here for a second?" And I just turned to my guys and go, "Just give us a minute." And I'd take the actor out, and I'm gonna see 2 or 3 people. I said, and in that time, you're gonna take a few deep breaths, have a glass of water, go pee if you have to, but you're going to pull all the strings together and make this happen because you were lost. And that was part of a casting director's job, to be able to tell when an actor was in the weeds, and knowing that actor is better than what they're doing, and to stop it and just keep everything moving and not draw a lot of focus to it. That's being a casting director is understanding acting and also understanding actors. And we sit there behind the table and we already have a job. None of the actors do.
Right.
So in the acting world, you'd call that the stakes are high.
Look, I don't know if you're doing it on purpose, but you really are channeling Michael Shirtliff here. We got an Instagram question.
Okay.
From official Kevin Allen Heiss. Can a demo reel be made up of scenarios? Wait, can a demo reel be made up of scenarios made up? Because I can never get a piece of the films I've done. What?
It's unfortunate that you can't get a copy of the film. From the number 1 to the number 14, I write that clause into every deal memo, that the actor get digital access to the film after its release or first air date, because it is so important. It basically cuts our nose off to spite our face if we don't give it to you, because we're always going, "Oh, do they have any recent material we could look at?" And yes, that's in my head. That's what producers sound like. Careful with that, using material. I don't want to see. I'd rather see a great slate. Write a little something for yourself. You know what? I've done a bunch of films, haven't been able to get any of the material, but you know what? My name's Joe Smith. I live in Toronto, and I'm a really good actor, and I need a shot. I went to school, anything. Write yourself a script. Make us love you. Make us fall in love with you. 30 seconds. That's it. Okay, maybe 36. But if you don't have material, do that. Because I don't want to see you do Ophelia from Hamlet, or I don't want to see an audition for another show.
Got another question here. Craig Weiss, thank you for your time and insights, Brian. What are your thoughts on adding the moment before or the moment after on self-tape? Well, the moment after probably doesn't make sense because the self-tape will be over. But in terms of the moment before,
I love this question, Craig. Really good question, and it's something that I always encourage and I look for. So many actors, when they're doing even a self-tape or they're in the room, hit their mark and stand there and wait for action, and then acting. Well, something had to have happened before. Something had to make you say your first line to turn into it. So you've got to figure out what your moment before is. If it's not scripted, just make up that moment. Walking in the door, step into the frame, turn into the camera. Look up from, you guys all have one of these? Look up from what we all do.
Is that a mobile telephone?
It is a cellular telephone, Bobby. Yes, I love moments before. I love moments after. And moments after are great because you can do, so it's blah, 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 acting. A breath, too many actors have forgotten how to use their breath, how to make that happen. You don't have to come up with some clever ad lib. Just use your breath like Sean Lawrence, God bless him, was the master of the go to speak but don't when he ended a scene. He was masterful. So yes, I love moments before and moments after, but don't rewrite our script. Don't change the tone. It's just it's like a sub beat when when you break down a script and you break it down into beats and actions, and it's like a sub unit of that. When I was in theater school, we called it a smeeb, and it's that moment that exists. That's not, it's not a smeeb.
A sneeb.
Smeeb, S-M.
Smeeb.
Smeeb, a smeeb. And it's not big enough to be a full beat, a change of action. And yet it really doesn't do all that much, but it adds so much.
Right.
And those are great things. Guys, if I give you a piece of advice, fool around with the camera. Shoot yourself. What do you look like stepping into frame? What do you look like turning into frame? How can you do it? What's believable for your character? Also, a lot of actors will make the mistake of laser locking their eyeballs into their reader, and that never changes. Even if there's 2 or 3 other characters, you have to create geography. Where is everybody? Bill's going to be over there. My mom's going to be there. The dog's down there. And the main person I'm talking to is right there, just to the left or right of the camera. Right. Now I know where everybody is. I may choose, so have the reader do that first bit, and I might give myself a task. I love tasks when actors do tasks, and not look up the whole time. And I might even do my first line looking down, but not looking down because I need to see your faces. And then choosing when or who I'm playing to. It's very powerful. Understand your power as a performer with the camera. And self-tapes will make you have a better relationship with the camera.
Sorry, Brian. I'm trying to get your plug in there because you're offering so much value, and then it reminded me of, well, you've got this upcoming workshop, and we're reminding our audience here you're offering a 10% discount to your workshop to eBoss members if people go to the training section of the eBoss site. But let's talk about your workshop a little bit.
Now,
because I can
this is what we teach.
Yeah.
This is what I teach. And acting, I've been teaching at Seneca College in their acting for film and television programs for 12 years, 13 years. Oh my gosh, I'm so freaking old. And I always do the last semester with the class that is graduating, and they spend 14 weeks with me, and I teach them how to survive. I don't know if they're listening, but I try to teach them how to survive. My one-day workshop will teach you this. And it's a shameless plug. Thank you, Bobby, but you threw it out there, so I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, of course.
My workshop will teach you how to do self-tapes, how to audition, how to make choices, what works, what doesn't. We show you a look at the casting workbook from our point of view at the Breakdown Express. We'll even show you some stuff that's happening live in terms of numbers, what the odds are, always a class favorite. It's a good time. We send sides out. You will perform for the workshop. You get a digital copy of all the on-camera work. And Lunch is included. We'll feed you, baby. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, and it's like from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We cover a butt ton of stuff. So come, and you get one of these, Bobby, just in case. You get one. You get your very own notebook.
You get a notebook.
Yeah, you can write junk inside.
So Deepak has asked, that's amazing. Where can we find the link to your workshop? So that should be in the members, let's see, it's in the training section of the eBoss site. Right?
And you have to get the discount. Just say that you were watching tonight.
Okay. So if they just say, hey,
reach out to me, ask, you know, I'll answer any questions you have. We're scheduled for September 13th. The 13th is currently fully subscribed. If you notice, Bobby, I didn't say something as crass as sold out.
Right.
I thought fully subscribed was classy.
It's classier.
Yeah. So we're opening up September 14th, Sunday.
Okay, so it's popular. Look, I mean,
and I think Charlene posted that already.
Usually I don't devote so much time to workshops and stuff, but in your case, it's just I can see you have a lot to offer. You know, like you really are like directing actors. You want actors to win, and I've known you for so long that I know that you're real. Like you're not lying. Like you actually do want to help actors try and get a job. You know,
I do because. You know, when it comes right down to it, you guys make casting look great. When the producer and director go, oh my God, the cast was so good. It makes us look great. So it's all about us.
Well, you're being funny, but you know, we appreciate the value you have. So I just wanted to move on, unless you wanted to say more about the workshop, because what's interesting to me is that I think people have a lot of misconceptions about casting directors, especially I think in the self-tape world, where maybe they don't get a chance to build relationships with casting directors the way we used to, right? I know
Bobby, that is such a great point. Holy crap!
Right.
That is brilliant. How do you build relationships with the other side of the table, metaphorically speaking, in a digital age?
Right.
And you know what? Something as simple and humble as your slate. There's an actor who I've been auditioning for some of these projects that we cast, a lot of Hallmark and stuff like that shoot in Ottawa. And this guy, he's come so close and just can't close the deal. But I'm always bringing him in because he does such a great self-tape, and he really makes us look good, and he makes the other actors look good too. But it's for whatever reason they just haven't cast him, but it really hasn't deterred him. And my guys now refer to him by name. And what does he do? What's his secret? We're going to cast actually in this next film. We're going to surprise him because we're just going to offer him a role, without asking him to self-tape, because we know what he can do. In his slates, he looked right down the barrel. And after the third or fourth audition with us, he said, "Well, hey guys, here we are again. I'm really happy to audition for you. I'm dying to come to Ottawa. I don't know why you're not casting me, but I'm available for all the outside dates. I'm an Ontario taxpayer, and I'm a full actor member. I hope to work with you soon." And that's it. And and he made my guys. When I say guys, in this case, our director was a woman, and she laughed. She said, I feel so guilty for not choosing him. And he had relationship. He's created a digital relationship with us. So the other way to create relationship is if you do get that in the room opportunity, take it, because that's where you create relationships. And then, of course, on set, Don't be a pain in the ass. Just be your lovely professional self. Do we remember what Tom Hanks said when he won the Golden Globe or that award? And he talked about his first job with the Great Lakes Shakespeare Company. And when they showed up late one morning for rehearsal and a little hungover, and the director said, "This won't do. You have one job to do. You need to put the material in your head, arrive with some ideas. That's your job. Do your job." And Tom Hanks said he never turned back after that and remembered that lesson. And well, I'm talking about Mr. Hanks. A little while ago, I read his book, The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece. Read it. He talks about filmmaking on a level that I don't get to participate in. I don't do, $60 million blockbusters. And a lot of us don't get that opportunity to work on them. But the basics are still the same, and it's fun. That's my summer read hype.
What's another misconception that people have about casting directors that you'd love to clear up?
We're not all douchebags.
So like 30% or
I don't know, Bobby. Well, okay, here's one. A lot of people think that we decide. I don't decide. My job is to give my team options. And I have to build a pool of options that's deep enough for them to be able to cast their picture. That's my job. My job is to know the talent pool. My job is to know who's out there, to know how to cut a good deal with an agent for a lead actor. Because yes, that's also part of my job. I negotiate the deal a lot of the time. With guidance from my team. Excuse me. But that's all part of my job. That's my job. That's a casting director's job. And I have to see beyond the presentation. I have to look at your resume, and then I look at your stupid self-tape and go, no, this is telling me that they are better than this. And so I turn around to your agent and I go, do it again. And this time, like you want to do the job, like you mean it, like you love it.
It's interesting.
I don't know. I sort of forgot the question. I'm sorry, Bobby.
No, you answered it perfectly. We're just clearing up misconceptions, but
that's a misconception. A lot of people think that we make the decisions. We don't. We're option providers, but often we will be consulted, excuse me, by our teams.
Right. Well, it's interesting because you're talking about also, this person, he came in and he auditioned and he came close, and then now you've built this digital relationship, as you say, and then now you're going to make him an offer, right? So I get, that to me as an actor, I say, oh, okay, so there is that sort of familiarity and trust that develops, where even though you don't necessarily make the decision, you can be an advocate for the performer, right?
Absolutely. That's part of our job.
Right.
And part of our job too is when I get selects from a team, it depends on my relationship. If it's a director that I've worked with again, and I see a name on there and I go, no, that's the wrong choice. Well, I'm not the director, but there is a way you can broach that with saying things like, wow, what an interesting choice for the brother. How come I'm just curious why you went that way. I'm not asking my director to justify it. I'm just sort of interested in the process.
Right.
And often they'll say, oh, well, you know what? I sort of knew that you were going to push back on that. And this is why, and I like it for this or this or this. Or they go, why? Is there something that we should know about that person? It's like, well, no, but wouldn't have been our first choice given what's up here.
Right. And that's why, you have the job. Okay, so we've got an Instagram question from Stephanie Correa. What would you recommend for non-union actors trying to be seen for union roles?
It can be difficult. Go for obtainable roles. If you have a skill that is unique and the project is calling for it, I don't know, being able to juggle, speak another language. That's something too, 20 years ago, accents, it's like, oh, they have an accent. These days, no, accents give us wonderful color and depth. And I auditioned an actor once who they were playing they were Latino, but they were playing this Latino, and in the scene they get flustered, and this actor did something so wonderful. I fell off my chair watching his self-tape. He fell into Spanish. And his reader, they must have rehearsed this because it was just brilliant. His reader went, Julio, English. and he stopped and he went, oh, yeah, sorry. And they picked up, and it was a brilliant little tiny ad lib, but it was so in character. So that was something. This actor was a non-union performer, and my guys jumped all over him. How do non-union performers get in? It's really tough. ACTRA can be pretty sticky sometimes. Patience, perseverance, and use commercials as the back door to ACTRA.
Interesting. You're talking about improvisation. That just a new question emerges for me. So obviously the sides, that's the script, and you got to stick to the script. But you're also saying that there's moments where perhaps a key ad lib could bring you attention. Like, what do you think about that?
Paquito, por favor.
Okay. Small, for anyone who doesn't know Spanish. Small.
Just a little bit. Like if your character enters a room and the writer hasn't given you a hello, or if you're leaving, a goodbye, again, add that into your little moment before, your moment after, or if something's missing, or it's usually a word, a couple of words. Don't rewrite our script. We want to, sometimes in scripts there'll be typos, and in the script I'm doing right now, they wrote was instead of way, and I know there are actors out there who will do it exactly as scripted. No, you have to use your common sense. That's really a great tool for an actor. But ad lib, use it sparingly. And if you do use it, it should make absolute sense, not change our story and not rewrite the script.
Let's talk a little bit about the industry. You're an industry vet, decades in the business.
Gee, I am.
I talked to a lot of different people who do different jobs in this industry, and you're one of the most experienced people I've talked to so far. How would you like to see the Canadian industry evolve in the future? We're in a time of so much change. What is it? Is it better? Are we going the right way? Are we making some mistakes? Like, what do you think we need to do in the Canadian business here?
When it comes right down to it, Bobby, I'm crew like everybody else. I'm hired help. What would I like to see? I'd like to see more production. I'd like to see more Canadian TV shows. That people don't have to sell their kidney to get produced. Katie Ullman, my great friend Katie Ullman, just produced Blood, Sweat, and Tears, a little show for Bell Media called When Cows Come Home. And, I watched her develop this little show for a couple of years. And it just shouldn't be that hard. I've seen the entire show. It's funny. It's interesting. The actors are wonderful. There's no reason why we can't be producing more.
Yeah, so it's really
it's money. It's always money. When it comes right down to it, it's all. When somebody says, "Well, it's not about the money," they're lying to you. It's always about the money. But I'm but a humble casting director.
Well, Mr. Humble Casting Director, we got an Instagram question for you here from Model Sand Talent Agency. Why is Breakdown Express only being used to cast talent? Why isn't casting networks or a casting workbook? I don't know the answer to this.
We use Breakdown Express and the workbook as our primary platforms. I don't use Casting Network. It just didn't work for us. When they pitched it to us, I thought it was a really good idea, but it just didn't fit for what we needed, so we just never used it. Not because I don't like them; I'm sure they're lovely people, but the workbook has its faults, and Breakdown Express has its faults. Part of my job as a casting director, a part of a crew, is I serve my producers, I serve my director, and I serve my script in that particular order. As actors, you all know your big job is to serve your script and serve your director. Those are your two responsibilities. So I don't know, I can only speak for myself. Those are the two platforms we use.
Okay, Deepak Matthews, he's blowing up our chat here. Based on your years of casting for both long form and commercials, how might one's approach to character development differ between these mediums?
Well, it's apples and oranges. So they're two very different things, but they're also very similar in that acting is acting. It's just a different skill set. I did thousands of TV commercials and campaigns over the years. The biggest mistake a lot of actors made auditioning for commercials was they didn't take them seriously. But yet, watch a decent commercial and they'll tell you a story in 27 seconds or 12 seconds or 42 seconds. And the directors doing these things have tremendous pressure to tell that story in such a small time. And for long form, we have much more time. You have more time to develop your character in some cases. They're the same, but they're different. But if you treat both as an actor to create a character, that's the important thing. That's what you have to remember. And that your character has to fit the script. Not be limited by the script. It just has to fit the story so that it works. Did that work, Bobby?
Yeah, no, it was great.
Okay.
You're so popular. There's just so many questions. Instagram question from Bad Apple Angie. If you're getting called, it's just a good sign we are doing a great job on our auditions.
Yes, absolutely. If we keep asking you to audition, you're doing something great. You're doing something good. And casting directors always love bringing in actors who they can rely on to do a solid audition. it's just, at that point, you just have to be patient. Because it will happen for you. If you're getting called in, it will click. Sometimes it just takes longer. Sorry.
Oh my God, Brian, this is my 8th time hosting this podcast, and I've never seen a more popular guest. Like, you're blowing everything up here. Okay, Jonathan Apatov. Is there something someone can do in a self-tape to stand out to you? I know every casting director has their own preferences on specific things they may look for. Any hacks, Brian?
No, good acting and imagination. Bring it, guys, bring it. You know, a t-shirt and shorts, because it's hot out, isn't going to win you that captain of industry, that Bay Street mogul. Dress for success. Give us a taste. Show us who you can be. Show us that you're not estranged from your brush or from your makeup.
Right.
Bring your A game. That's how you stand out in audition.
Right. So you talk a lot about craft. You talk a lot about tech. You talk about let's do this self-tape the best way that you can do it. And then of course we got another question from Facebook. We've got Kelly Buell, maybe? Kelly Buell. What was your favorite commercial or campaign to cast? We're taking it back.
Oh gosh,
40
Kelly.
years in the business. What's your favorite?
I have a couple.
Okay.
Can I have 2, maybe 3?
Wow.
I did a commercial once for McDonald's, and I cast Sarah Weisglass, I think, and Joel Keller. Sorry, Joel. Joel, and it was a beautiful ad, and it's about a young girl. She's maybe 12, just 13, that really funny age, moving from girl to a young woman. And she's at a McDonald's having breakfast. You can tell it's early morning and it's after hockey practice, and she's with her dad. And you can tell that the girl's got something on her mind, and the camera pushes in tight. David Harner directed this spot. It was freaking brilliant. And he pushes in, and you can see she's just her body language, and she's uncomfortable. And she looks up and she looks at Joel and she goes, "Dad, did you ever wish I'd been a boy?" And that's a heck of a question to throw at your dad, especially before coffee. And Joel, as an actor, he's like, you could tell his breath came up into his upper register. He physically got uncomfortable, and then he gave her a deflection. If you'd been born a boy, who would I teach to take a pass on the left side? And she just looks at him, and Sarah just did this little tilt of her head, like, that's not good enough. And then the camera came back to Joel, and he knows it wasn't good enough. And then, but he deflects again. And the camera comes a close up of Sarah, and she again gives him that look, and it's a little raised eyebrow. Seriously? And finally, when the camera comes back to Joel, he comes in and he goes, "If you'd been born a boy, who would be my little girl?"
Wow.
And then he sees her eye line move, and he looks over his shoulder, and the camera catches a bunch of boys, 12, 13-year-old boys coming in, and one of them's just gone, has caught Sarah's eye. And as Joel turns back, he's taking a breath in, like, seriously? Like, this is starting now, and that's where we cut. And it was just such a beautiful, real, honest, human moment. And guess what, guys? They never once went, this McMuffin is good. This McDonald's coffee is yummy. We knew it was all good because that's where they were. That was one of my favorites, David Harner. My other one, other favorites, was Small Pool of Spots I did for Canadian Tire Jumpstart that David Harner also directed. They were frickin' brilliant. You can Google them online. It's Canadian Tire basketball commercial and Canadian Tire baseball. And the baseball one has a little East Indian boy, and he's watching these other kids, and they're doing sort of a pickup baseball game. One of the kids turns and goes, "Hey, you want to play?" And the little Indian kid goes, "Yeah, okay." And he gets up to bat, and he's holding the bat like a cricket mallet. Right. And he's about to strike out. And then the pitch, and you can see the reactions from the other kids, like, "Hey, this kid sucks. Why'd you ask him?" And the pitch comes, and this kid in a cricket swing with the bat wallops the ball. Ball goes sailing, and he's just standing there. And then it cuts back to one of the other kids going, "Run!" And then he does the bases. Everybody goes crazy. And then the commercial ends as they're walking away. The kid who said, "Hey, do you want to play?" Turns to the little boy and says, I thought you said you didn't know how to play baseball." And the kid turns to me and goes, "Cricket." It was just a fabulous spot. All the kids we auditioned were so wonderful.
You know, Brian, what really comes across to me is how much you really love this business. You love this art form.
Oh, Duff McDonald, very talented actor. Hi, Brian. Thank you, Duff. Duff gave me a shout out.
What is it about the business that gets you? You know, it's like you can see, you remember every moment and every frame of these commercials that you did years ago. That comes from love, man. That comes from passion. Like, where does that sit in you?
I love what I do. I love the hunt. It's, the challenge. Every single project, every job is different. It's different. And I that's what I love about it. It's commercially I have looked for the odd, the weird, the obscure. We did a Toyota campaign once where basically the director said, "Just bring me the weirdest people you can find. I want to see," and excuse my language, "a fucking circus."
Wow.
Well, I took him at his word. And back in the day when I was with Kim Everest at Powerhouse, I had guys on, you should have seen our lobby and our driveway. We had guys on stilts, and I had this woman swallowing swords and fire and jugglers and magicians. This guy kept pulling doves and small rodents out of his jacket. The guy we cast was a juggler and damn near set our studio on fire. And his best skill was he was just naturally funny and personable. And they were introducing the Toyota something. Anyways, but that's great. That's fun. I found skydivers. I did a spot for an American medical company in Dallas, and it was an audience, and there was in a theater, and there was a string quartet. And my friend and wonderful musician, Bridget O'Regan, was my liaison to the musical world. And I said, "Bridge, I need to find a string quartet. Oh yeah, and by the way, they all have to be black." Not a problem. And we found it, and I was at the shoot. I love going to the shoot, so whenever I can. And the client and the ad agency nearly fell out of their chairs because these ladies actually played. And the director came up to him and he had no idea. And he said, so, you know how to play and the thing. And just we will tape your strings so there's no sound and just make like you're playing. And one of the ladies went, well, what's the music? And he said the piece of music. And she said, can we do that? And all the musicians, they went, oh yeah, piece of cake, sure. It's like, it's like Ode to Joy or something.
Oh yeah.
And they started to play. Well, you could have heard a pin drop. The director forgot to yell action. And the lady stopped, and the lady who was speaking for the musicians said, are you guys, do you want us here for a concert, or are you going to shoot this thing? And I thought that was probably one of the ballsiest things I ever saw. They were great. You gotta love a musician.
It's amazing how much knowledge you're sharing, and look, Duff McDonald, forever grateful for casting me in 3 Reese's peanut butter commercials.
Those were good spots.
So, I was getting into your experience, which gets me into why we do this, right? Instagram comment from Maya Michaels, gracias por todo, Brian O. English. Thanks for everything, Brian. I mean, look at all the actors who are here to support you. I mean, obviously, you're touching a lot of lives. And this is what we want to do here with Entertainment 411. Like, it's giving people the tools they need to succeed in this business, especially when they're at the beginning of their careers. So let's talk a little bit about mentors, right? Because people are looking to someone like you, to this podcast. Like, where can people go to get this kind of experience, to get this kind of mentorship? What do you think? Have you had mentors?
Before I address that, shows like this are terrific. And it's, Charlene Richards who makes all of this magic happen. Sorry, Charlene, you need a shout out, baby. This is an incredible platform, and it's an important platform. And I think that these things, not just because I'm on it, but this is a great venue for actors to find out more about their industry, because the smarter an actor is, the better they will be. But mentors, who are my mentors?
Yeah. Have you had mentors, or?
Yeah, I have actually. There have been people who really helped me through my career, guided me, made me. We all make crappy decisions. The art of that is to try not to make too many of them. Bruce Ward, the late great Bruce Ward in Vancouver, had an agency called Act 4 Management. And Bruce and I were great pals for years and years. And Bruce was my go-to when I need. He was like my industry consigliere.
Right.
I would call and I'd go. I'd ask him, and he'd go, I don't know, Brian. You come to me on the day that I'm negotiating a big contract. But okay, I will do you this service. For the Coppola Godfather fans out there, that was my terrible Marlon Brando imitation.
Well, look, send in your self-tape. I may have some notes.
Thank you, Bobby. But there are people, there's not just one person, there's many people whose opinion I respect, who have been helpful. And sometimes you move on beyond these people, but there are always people coming in and out of your life who you take into your heart and who you become, you trust their direction. It's another set of eyes. That's why actors have directors. That's why there are directors, another set of eyes. And that's why directors have producers, more eyes. Some would argue more cooks in the kitchen to spoil the broth, but that's another argument for another day. But mentors, I've had lots, and I'm I'm privileged that
Well,
way.
we're privileged to have you. And now we're gonna plug your workshop one more time, and then we've got the contests. And I've done it once before.
Wait, Kelly's got a good question. Who were your mentors in your acting career?
Oh, okay.
Okay, David Latham, Jojo Rideout, Keith Johnston. Gosh, some of these people are dead, some they're not. The great late Rolly Hugel, who when I was at the Playhouse as a young actor, and he was the veteran, he was so generous with his advice and kind. He was just wonderful. There's so many people, no one person. Franny Flanagan out in Vancouver always had a level head. She was way too smart for me. But lots of people, just no one person. Sorry, Bobby, bring us back.
No, look, this it's your episode. It's like, it's amazing too, because you're 40 years in the business, man, and it really shows, and it's amazing to see it all come together. Look at all the, people are just so engaged now. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go. Let me do what I'm supposed to do, because I got this text, and then we'll circle back here.
Sure.
First, I want to plug this workshop again. So again, if you've enjoyed this conversation with Brian, go to the training section of the eBoss site, and remember, Brian's offering a 10% discount on his upcoming workshop to eBoss members. Okay. Now, also, we've got a contest, and this I think it's going to happen in real time, where it's like literally like there's a graphic that comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the contest, and then we can go back to this question if you have some time. Maybe
sure.
A couple others.
Yeah.
But let's do the contest to see who wins the one-on-one consultation with Brian Levy. And I may humiliate myself, hopefully not, but here we go. Let's do the contest and find out who wins.
And tell them what they want.
It's working. Okay.
It's like a wheel. Tick.
Yeah.
Tick.
The winner
Misha
is
Marie.
Misha Marie. It's probably not Miska. I'm gonna guess it's Misha. Misha Marie, you have won. You've got a one-on-one consultation with Brian. You guys can schedule that in the future. I can't imagine you can do that right now.
I imagine Charlene will send her. It's a one-on-one Zoom with me.
The great winner.
Greet back in the day. Remember this, Bobby? Go-sees.
Yep.
The casting directors would go to different agencies, and the agency would schedule their actors every 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You come in, you say hello. Here's my picture, my resume. Oi, I did a show.
You got a one-on-one go-see. Contest winner, please contact ebosscanada@gmail.com. Congratulations, Misha Marie. Very excited. Now, there was a question that had come up on the chat, which isn't there anymore, so I don't know if we can see that or like. Okay, here we go. Apologize for popping. Oh, so Deepak Matthews, you got a super fan here, Brian.
Deepak, never apologize for asking great questions, dude.
So he appreciates all the valuable information. In today's day and age, how important is it for an actor to have a social media presence? This is a very good question, actually. Do they need to have an acting page on Instagram or TikTok? Do casting directors even look at them? What's the deal, Brian?
Casting doesn't really. There was about 10 seconds there where we were casting people who, these non-actors who had a following of like 700,000, 1 million people, 2 million people.
Right.
And this was before influencers existed.
Right.
So they would have these huge followings. And the platforms thought, well, that'd be a great idea. Let's cast this guy. There's 700,000 people who follow this guy or gal. But it is important to have a presence. It's really important to know what your presence looks like, because engagers will definitely do a little dive into you to see what your social media looks like. Because Procter and Gamble's not going to hire you if there's anybody's not going to hire you if you have weird stuff, and platforms get a little wary. It's not so much of a screening. Well, yes, it is a screening, but if it's just the usual stuff, and it doesn't mean it can't be political. It just use your common sense.
Interesting. So it's funny because I think a lot of actors think about social media in this way. It's like, if I have lots of followers and a huge audience, maybe I'll get me cast. But you're saying it's actually sort of the opposite. It's like, don't be doing things that get you fired. Don't do things that prevent you from getting hired because it's like unprofessional.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to have lots of followers, and that can translate into something else. But if that's your whole raison d'etre, then, you know, I need an actor. I need actors. I can't serve the script or my people, my teams, without actors. And that's so there has to be authenticity, and there has to be something to back it up. And here's another. Here, you want a great tip, Bobby?
I do. Give me the tip, Ryan.
Always be improving yourself as an actor. Take classes, study, read plays, watch movies. Go to the movies. Go to the theater. Be one with, your actors, with your chosen profession. Embrace it. Love it. And years ago, we go see a movie and you come out and you go, wow, that was a piece of crap. It really stunk out the joint. I was an idiot then. I was young and I didn't know any better. Or you go see a play and you go, that's a piece of shit. I hated that play. And it's fine. You may not like the material, but don't disrespect. Give the effort. There was a whole crew there that created that product. There's a whole cast there that tried to do the best jobs they could. And if you're, in your massive opinion, if they did not rise to your standards, hey, sometimes it happens. Maybe your standards are too high, but respect it. Respect the process. And try changing it. I think we need a lot more kindness in this world, and a little more civility. And so instead of thinking that something sucked or it was awful or they sucked, wasn't to your taste, didn't quite do it for you, try taking that road. And I'm going to plug now. I just saw The Last Showgirl. Jamie Lee Curtis was amazing, and if you haven't seen it, go see it. Go see it.
Look, Brian, you have so much to offer. We've promoted your workshop. Misha Marie is going to get her one-on-one with you. We are going to have to wrap things up. We appreciate you so much, but let's leave it with you have so much to offer. I'm just going to be like, final thoughts, man. It's like, what do you want to leave our audience with? You have got the most engaged audience that I've seen of the 8 podcasts I've hosted here. They're sucking it up, man. Everything that you have to say, it's like they're really into it.
Oh dear.
What do you want to leave people with? We've had a long conversation. We've talked a lot.
This has been a lot of fun. A lot of terrific questions. It's great to engage, and you're welcome, Ryan. It's great to engage. That's what makes this industry great. You're not going to see a group of CPAs engaging like this, or bankers. Yeah, boy. This industry is, yes, it is business, and you have to be savvy and hip to the business side of show business. But you also have to get the show part, and you also have to be authentic. and you have to find the honesty in your performances, and you have to dig deeper. And if you want to do better, come to compete, guys. It's a competition. That's what this is. You don't apply for a job. I hear a lot of people going, every audition is like applying for a job. Bullshit. It's not applying for a job. It's like the freaking Coliseum. You are competing, and the last person standing gets the job. So bring your craft to bear. Learn your craft. If you're new to the biz, or you're just coming in, or you didn't go to theater school but you've taken a few workshops, great. Keep building.
Right.
But be true to yourself as an actor. And just figure it out, and don't be afraid of failure, making mistakes. Good God, I've got a small mountain of mistakes right behind the curtain.
I was so sure you were about to rip your shirt off and be like, "Are we not entertained?" or whatever the.
Bobby, we talked about the ripping of the shirt off.
Okay, you can.
Apparently,
I mean,
I'm
you
not
want
allowed
to
to do that anymore.
It's interesting, because you're such a kind person, but there's also that competitor in you too, right? But it's true, right? Like you're very honest, right? It's like you're in competition for these jobs, and you got to give it 100%. And if I'm finding the through line from everything you're saying, it's like, be respectful, be the best version of yourself, but you need to give 100%, because nothing.
Yeah, and find the joy in the work. Good God, you're actors. It's when I was in theater school, C. David Johnson gave me a bloody nose once because we were in such a rush to get. David said, "Who wants to be next?" And we got up, and David L gave me a Gordie Howe right in the schnoz.
On purpose?
No, we were just enthusiastic. We wanted to work. We wanted to get up, and that's you guys should be like racehorses at the gate wanting to go.
And speaking of racehorses, I know that you're going to be racing to Brian's workshop. And what about your socials and Deepak? Like, thank you, Brian and Bobby. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank
Where
you,
can people
Deepak.
follow you or say, "Oh, Bob Nairn, this is a gift on my treasure map of treasure booty"? Wow. Okay.
That's terrific. I'm on Facebook. You can reach out to me there. I should do more Insta, but I'm just really lazy and forgetful that way.
So Facebook is the best platform for you, right?
But yeah, I like Facebook. I love seeing your pictures and your posts, and the babies and the kids and the deaths and the births, and I find Facebook, for all its for all of its faults, is really quite human, for lack of a better word, because it is so imperfect. I don't know. That's where you can. I really don't post a lot of personal stuff. I very rarely post business stuff. I'm not an everyday kind of poster person. If I see something I want to share, I'll share it. But I do love the feed. I love the feed of all the people. And it's great. As a guy who watches for a living, a bit of a voyeur.
Well, look, speaking of the feed, I mean, our feed's been going crazy. All these people thanking you, and they got, oh my God, I got so much out of this, and I'll see you at the workshop. And yet another one, Craig Weiss, is an evening. Brian and Bobby Form, thanks for the previous opportunities to audition. Brian, you cannot fake this kind of enthusiasm. And look, this is what we offer here at Entertainment 411. So we're going to remind you, Brian's offering a 10% discount on his upcoming workshop to eBoss members. If you go to the training section of the eBoss site, you will see it. And future episodes, on August 20th, we've got the lead singer of Glass Tiger, Alan Frew. August 21st, we've got Montreal casting director Denise Charest. And on September 20th, we've got casting director Ian Bender. So actors, stay
Wow.
tuned on the eBoss site, because we've got a ton of different podcasts coming up. There's many resources, workshops. There's a lot more info for you.
Great lineup. And Bobby, shout out to you, my friend, my longtime friend.
Thank you.
You are a great host, and you really know how to keep it clicking. And guys, if you like this platform, tell your friends and tell them to get on it, because they only exist if they have support. You don't support it, they disappear.
Thank you, Brian. And
that's a great lineup.
I mean this very sincerely. And Charlene Richards, who runs eBoss and Entertainment 401, all these things. Oh, Bonnie's like, oh, thank you, Brian, Bobby, and eBoss. Like,
thanks, Bonnie.
Charlene is doing this because she loves this business as much as Brian does. Okay, and I'm not gonna. I get very jaded. I'm an actor for 30 years. Like, I was like, oh my. But every time I do this, I speak to people, and they've got the spark and the passion, the enthusiasm, and this, it's a difficult time in the business right now. So I think anything that people can do to kind of stay engaged and improve and stay positive, you got to do it. You got to do it. So thank you all for coming.
And having a day job does not mean you're not a real actor. Getting a day job means you understand that you need to survive.
Very true. And 99% of actors I know have day jobs. So do what you got to do. But thank you all for coming to Entertainment 411. We are here every week. We've got lots of great content for you. Check out Brian. Check out eBoss. I'm your host, Bobby Del Rio. We'll see you next time.